Our industry is grappling with uncertainty. At the 2025 National Restaurant Association Show, you'll explore innovative solutions, strategies, and partnerships that will prepare you for whatever comes your way. Take it from me, the show has everything you need to elevate your front and back of house. You'll see, touch, taste, and demo the latest trending products across more than 900 categories, including food, beverage, technology, equipment, and more. Don't miss the industry's most trusted event taking place in Chicago, May 17th to 20th. Secure a badge by May 9th to save $30. Register today at nationalrestaurantshow.com. Rate quoted ends on May 9th and applies to operators only. Non-exhibiting suppliers are subject to a higher badge rate. Please check out the show's website.
Hi there, and welcome to Menu Talk. I'm Pat Cobe, Senior Menu Editor at Restaurant Business, and I am here with
Bret Thorn, Senior Food and Beverage Editor of Nation's Restaurant News and Restaurant Hospitality. Welcome, everybody, and nice to see you, Pat.
We just got back from the Restaurant Leadership Conference where Bret and I moderated a panel of menu developers from different chains, and that was really enlightening.
Yes, it was. It was a lunch and learn, and I didn't eat much lunch because when I'm moderating a panel, I want to, be light on my feet and not weighed
You
down.
definitely were. I mean, I think it went really well. We had people from Noodles and Company, Potbelly, Velvet Taco, Applebee's, and Popeyes. Yeah, it was great. And they were very chatty and talked a lot about, how they've been working on their menus the past year, but also about a couple of things that were coming up, which were kind of interesting. Scott Davis from Noodles and Company revealed that they are working on ramen because they want to introduce more global flavors to the noodles menu.
Well, and that's interesting. And I certainly welcome ramen anywhere and international flavors, but Noodles and Company's top sellers, despite their sort of global menu footprint, their top sellers are mac and cheese, which is not like, who doesn't like mac and cheese? And with their new menu, of course, they just upgraded them so that they're saucier, the cheese is cheesier. So, it's interesting that he dropped ramen, which is something I hadn't heard him say before.
Yeah, that was interesting. And Velvet Taco just introduced bowls on the day that we were doing our panel. And I think Potbelly released a steak sandwich. It was,
prime rib, I believe.
Prime rib, right. It was an upgraded beef cut.
Yes, the original prime rib steak sandwich with Swiss cheese, caramelized onions, and roasted garlic aioli. So
that sounds really upscale for Potbelly.
Yeah, and Amy Alarcon, the corporate chef of Popeyes, talked about what I call an extreme LTO, which is when a chain like introduces something or offers something for like one day at a few locations. Arby's did that a few years ago with like venison sandwiches and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Popeyes did it with Tequila Company, and it was only at 7 locations, and it was only for the Super Bowl. And, it was tequila marinated wings, and they were like not the typical breaded wings. They were naked wings and tequila glazed chicken and stuff like that. Like it required real research and development and was like a one-day thing. So, we asked Amy, why did you do that? And she revealed that the media attention resulted in a 3% bump in sales system-wide.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So I guess doing weird, outlandish things is good.
Maybe they'll bring it back for Cinco de Mayo. We're starting to get some stuff in our inboxes about that holiday coming up.
Yeah, it could be. We'll see. I mean, we had a strange convergence of Easter and 420 on Sunday.
Yes.
So, yeah, my menu tracker had munchy items like Red Lobster's cocktail developed by Snoop Dogg and Dreyer in collaboration with them and using their gin with a sidecar of Skittles, very stonery. And, of course, Velvet Taco, our friends, did a weekly taco feature, which they do every week, which is why it's called a WTF, as they say. And it was like a chicken tender with Fruity Pebbles and mac and cheese and stuff. And usually they innovate the weekly taco feature, but the 421 they have to bring back every 420 because they're customers.
Right. And they charge $4.20 for it, which is pretty
Well, they
Cool.
did this year. Last year, I looked it up and it was like $5.95. So they got clued in that just charge $4.20. It's okay.
Yeah.
And Red Lobster's cocktail was also $4.20, which is a good deal.
So Magnolia Bakery also offered something with the delivery platform GoPuff. And they did a special cupcakes because supposedly they order a lot of munchies on GoPuff on 420. So they could get a 2-pack of the cupcakes for $11.99. And they were a vanilla and chocolate cupcake topped with peanut butter buttercream and a marshmallow center. So it was kind of Eastery and 420-ish.
Yeah. I mean, that would be, you're right. It's Eastery, but also if you were stoned, it would probably taste extra good. So that's fun.
Yeah, definitely.
So did you have fun at ROC, the Restaurant Leadership Conference?
Yeah, I do. It's always such a great conference because it's full of energy. We get a lot of time with operators. We both did some podcasts while we were there. You did one with Applebee's and Popeyes.
Yep.
And I did one with Velvet Taco and Tzatziki's, which was interesting. And those will all appear later this month in our digital magazine, Digizine.
Yes.
Maybe it's in May, but I always get a lot out of it. It's a whirlwind couple of days, and this year they did the Culinary Club lunch, which was very different. That was a first time event that they did. And so Brett and I both attended that, and it was really, really good. They had different sponsors doing different courses of the lunch, and they had a gelato bar at the end, which was my favorite part.
And a really nice 15-minute presentation for Technomic that was great. That I wished I'd taken notes and could tell you about it, but I was busy socializing at the table, which is really a big part of RLC is networking with people. So I did that. But Lizzie from Technomic did some really great little quick bites of culinary insights that I certainly enjoyed and had a good time at that lunch. It's also interesting. I'm cynical about celebrities, and we had some celebrities at RLC, as we always do. And I covered the talk by Mark Wahlberg, who talked about running restaurants and being a movie star and assorted other things. And then afterwards, I was talking to our executive vice president of events, Chris Keating, lovely guy. And at our sort of, toward the end of RLC dinner at, where did we go? Thirsty Lion? Had a good time. He was talking about how he sends personal notes to the big name speakers. Like everybody gets a welcome RLC, but he sends personal notes to them. And he was saying, I'm sure they never read them. Like, why would Mark Wahlberg say, oh, here's a note from the executive vice president of events. I'd better read that. But in fact, before the interview, which Chris conducted, Mark thanked him for the personal note.
That's great. Yeah, he was a really very human presence.
Yeah.
I was surprised because he's done so much in his life aside from being a movie star, which most of us know him as. He invested in a tequila company, but really, is spotlighting the founders of the tequila company who are Mexican. Has an app, a Catholic app for...
Yes, it's a prayer app.
Yeah.
Hello, I believe it's called.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, in his talk, he talked about the tequila, Flecha Azul, which they wanted him to pretend that he developed the tequila. And he thought that was kind of a crappy thing to do. And he said, no, I'm not going to do it. And why wouldn't you tell the story of the two Mexican Americans who developed it? That's a more interesting story.
And that's what they're doing. Yeah, I thought that was very admirable. Yeah. And now he's starting a chain of gyms and fitness centers. And he looked really buffed up there up on the stage.
He always does. He works out. Although, I wonder, as the cynic that I am, about celebrities. Like, it's nice to have celebrities. There's something, I don't know, about breathing the same air as famous people. But in fact, everyone's there to network and to hear from industry experts, which Mark Wahlberg, there we go. Mark Wahlberg is more than most celebrities because he runs restaurants. But, Kevin Hochman, the CEO of Chili's, was very interesting.
Yeah, he was great. And they also revealed a new menu item this week. He actually talked about it at RLC.
Yeah, the Big QP, which is a very clearly variation or adaptation of the McDonald's Quarter Pounder with cheese, but with 85% more meat. And part of their special deal comes with fries and chips and a drink for $10.99, which
I thought it was really interesting that he talked about their barbell strategy too, because they have margaritas at every price point. They have $6 margaritas for the person who wants a bargain, but then they have a $16 margarita for someone who wants a premium cocktail. And both of them sell very well. So I think that's one of the reasons that Chili's has been so successful in the last couple of years.
For sure. And yeah, people who want or need a discount, give them a discount, but don't get in the way of people who want to spend more money. And so offering a premium item for people who want it is very logical. And as I often say with drinks, any drink that upgrades someone from water is a win. That's what you want. You want them now to be drinking free water.
I heard that there are even $29 cocktails around New York now, which is really, I thought when it hit the $20 mark, that was excessive, but $29.
I've seen $36 cocktails. There are fancy ones that are like $45, table side, smoked, old fashioned kind of stuff that
it's really gotten out of hand.
Yes, it's pretty hard. Well, and sometimes I just want a drink.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly don't want to have to sell a kidney to get a drink. So, yeah.
Well, I was really happy to see that there were a lot of people sitting outside restaurants this weekend because it was a beautiful weekend in New York and people are eating outside again. And they did have to take down all those streeteries that were in the dining areas that were in the street with, very questionable kinds of structures, but now they're just putting out little sidewalk cafes and tables and people are out on the street again. So the
COVID era structures were not great, and they never were. In fact, those kind of irritated me because restaurants spent a lot of money upgrading their HVAC systems and improving ventilation and all of that. And instead of eating in quite clean restaurants, people sat in closed-in parking spaces that had to have been petri dishes for maybe not viruses, because viruses don't grow in petri dishes, but for bacteria and other things that you don't necessarily want to be exposed to.
And they were a little dangerous because the cars, they were in a separate lane, but some of the cars didn't really obey that.
Yeah,
a couple of them were hit. So
also, I don't want to eat in traffic. I never ate at one of those one of the ones in parking spaces because why do I want to do that? I like eating in restaurants.
Well,
not intense.
Yeah, there's something for everybody.
True. Just because
who enjoyed that.
Yes, and just because I don't like it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it if that's.
And a lot of operators really liked it because it doubled their square footage and they could turn more tables.
For sure.
So.
Yeah. But people are eating outside again. I just went for a nice walk.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
But that's not true. I actually swung by one of my favorite seafood places in my neighborhood, Randazzo's, and had some Manhattan clam chowder. That was
nice.
Delicious. Yeah.
Well, we also had an interview with Bob Johnston, who's the CEO of Melting Pot. And Melting Pot is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. It started out with just, 4 fondues. It was really kind of a surprising kind of concept when it first started out because not everyone was familiar with fondue, but they kind of got the word out and now everybody is eating fondue. But they started out with just beef and cheese and chocolate fondue for dessert. But now they have tons of different kinds of fondues. They do seafood, they do a vegan one. They do all kinds of cheese, even a brie and fig was one of the ones that they recently introduced.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah. So Bob actually started as a dishwasher at Melting Pot, and now he's CEO. And they're doing a big 50th anniversary celebration this month and into the year.
Well, great. It's interesting that melting pot, I think, is the only fondue concept. There might be some independent ones, but I think it's the only chain. And it's interesting that there aren't any others. Like if you look, for example, on the opposite end at the crazy proliferation of coffee houses, different coffee house chains, and, all of the fried chicken chains, all of the specific Nashville hot chicken chains that are cropping up, but there's only one fondue one that I know of.
Right. And they, although they started in 1970s, I guess it was 75, but they were, everyone now is like seeking these interactive experiences when they go out to dine. So they're really on target because they do provide an experience, which is one of the words we're hearing a lot about this year.
A lot. That's a very good point.
So let's listen to what Bob Johnston has to say.
Yes, let's do it.
I'm here with Bob Johnston, CEO of Melting Pot. Welcome, Bob.
Thanks, Pat. Good to be here.
Yeah. So tell me about Melting Pot celebrating its 50th year anniversary this year. That's quite an accomplishment.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it really dates me, doesn't it? The Melting Pot has been around as a concept since 1975, and we actually just celebrated our 50th anniversary just last week. And we have a year-long plan of activities and special menu items and so forth that we're excited to offer to our guests as we celebrate our 50th year.
And how long have you been with the Melting Pot?
Yeah, I have been involved with the Melting Pot since 1979. I worked for my two older brothers who were one of the very first Melting Pot franchisees. We grow through franchising. So all of our, most of our operations are operated by independent franchisees, small businesses that are custodians and caretakers of our brand in their local market.
Cool. And you started as a dishwasher, you told me?
I did. Yeah. I was only 14 at the time and had like a lot of people in the restaurant business, I had no plan or ambition of staying in the restaurant business. But once I got into guest service and started taking care of guests, I absolutely found that enjoyable. And I realized that, this was going to be my life's work and was very passionate about it.
So when the menu started out, you had a couple of basic fondues. So can you tell me a little bit about what the starting lineup was like on the menu?
Yeah, it's funny. I was just looking at the very first menu for the very first Melting Pot located just outside of Orlando and opened in 1975 by the creators of the concept, Roy Nelson and Bruce Knuckle. And they had 5 things on the menu. They had a Swiss cheese fondue. They had a beef fondue entree, a chicken fondue entree, a combination of beef and chicken, and 1 chocolate fondue. And that was the full extent of the menu. And it's grown, of course, quite a bit, and a lot of different flavor profiles and influences from different countries have been brought into the menu. I just ate there last night at our St. Petersburg Melting Pot that just opened. Yesterday was opening night.
Cool.
And enjoyed a wide variety of flavors. The cheese fondue that my wife and I enjoyed was brie and fig, delicious, with a basil chiffonade on top of that. And the sauces are wide variety. I had a steak lovers entree. So I really loved our new steak sauce, which was created by our chef, Jason Miller. But also there was a game day sauce, which is a kind of a nod to buffalo sauce, wing sauce. And there was also a really nice mango and habanero dipping sauce as well that was a little bit spicy, I have to admit, but really delicious. And other sauces that we've become known for.
So the global flavors come in through the sauces mostly? Is that how you?
Not only, but yes. I mean, that's certainly is a great way to share different types of flavor profiles across a wide variety of proteins, right? But that's not the only way that gets expressed. For example, one of our most popular protein items for the center of the plate is a teriyaki sirloin, and that is a super secret marinade that we produce that is one of our most popular protein items. Everybody loves it.
The concept still revolves around bringing the bubbling pots to the table and people cook the meal themselves. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, we are a fondue restaurant, which means all of the fun and activity is at the center of the table. And it's a form of, we didn't invent this term, but people refer to it as eatertainment. So it's not just food on a plate. There's activity and conversation going on with the people you've chosen to gather with. And while we think the food is very important, the service and the atmosphere, of course, it's all part of the experience. The reality is the melting pot experience is as much about what's going on around that fondue pot, the people gathered there, as it is about what's in that fondue pot.
So how many items do you have on the menu now, approximately? I mean, it sounds like you went, a long way from the first 5
Sure. Yeah,
items.
It's a great question. I should know that answer off the top of my head, but quite a few. I mean, our cheese fondue menus and offerings are varied. And we have, as I mentioned, our locations are owned and operated by franchisees, and our culinary team provides them a wide variety of different cheese fondue creations that they get to choose, many of them, for their local market. So when you dine at a melting pot across the country, as many of them do, you're going to get to experience some new flavors that maybe you didn't see on your menu back home at your home melting pot restaurant. Salads, similarly, we have some staple salads that are offered in every location, but there's also local favorites that you'll find on the menu. And many of them are kind of influenced by regional culinary tastes and profiles. The entrees, again, a wide variety of proteins, from beef to chicken to seafood, vegetables as well. And great offering. By the way, my wife chooses, it's not an allergy, but she chooses to eat gluten-free, and a wide variety of options for her and for people who that's their preference, as well as vegan. Yeah, we even have vegan cheese fondue offerings, believe it or not, in all of our locations. Something for everyone.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. I haven't been to a melting pot, to be honest, in a while, so I'll have to check it out again.
Where are you located?
Well, I'm located in New York City, but I used to live in Westchester County, and there was one in White Plains. Yeah.
Well, there is one in White Plains, and then also if you're ever out on the island, right in the middle of the island, we are located there as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll definitely have to check it out again, especially because the 50th anniversary, golden anniversary Grand Reserve cheese fondue sounds amazing.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we have just an amazing long partnership with Emmy Roth. It's a Swiss-owned Wisconsin producer of some just award-winning delicious cheeses. And so most of our cheeses are provided by them, as well as some other craft and boutique cheesemakers. But this features their Grand Cru Emmentaler, and also their award-winning Gruyere, which is just delicious and a real throwback to the very beginning of cheese fondue in melting pots, when we only had that one Swiss cheese fondue, which is a blend of Emmentaler and Gruyere. But that Grand Cru cheese that's made by Emmy Roth is just delicious.
And you also there's some bacon in it as well.
Yeah. And who doesn't like bacon? I mean, you can add that to anything and make something delicious even more delicious.
So if you choose to be gluten-free, do you have breads to dip into it that are gluten-free breads as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, all of our cheese fondues come with other gluten-free dippers like the celery and carrots and broccoli as well. But, who doesn't love bread? Delicious bread dipped into warm cheese fondue. I mean, everybody loves that. So even if you eat gluten-free, we have that for you.
Cool. And tell me about the LTO strategy, because you leverage limited time offers to drive guest engagement and sales. So what do you have a certain schedule set every year? How often do they come out?
Yeah. So this is really driven by our culinary team. And I mentioned Jason Miller, our chef, kind of leads that charge and works very closely with our marketing team to figure out the right place on the calendar to drop some of our new limited time offers. And the reason why we do that, like any restaurant, is because we want to remain fresh and relevant and give options to the guest and just remind them that, hey, we're a great place to visit. Oftentimes our guest chooses during times where they're celebrating something in their life, but that's not the only way that they select the Melting Pot brand. It's not a limited time offer. This is an evergreen offer that is now launching through the whole system. We call it a down to fondue promotion. And this is a focal point of this is in our bars, an area of the restaurant that, we've never really been known historically as a great happy hour option for guests. But now we are with basically, the offer is a half off cheese and chocolate fondue during happy hour. The hours vary from location to location based on the uniqueness of each location. But basically that's the promotion, and that's hit the ground running. People are really excited about that. And it's a whole new way to use the melting pot when perhaps you don't have the budget of time for the full 4-course experience of cheese, fondue, salad, entree, and dessert. But you do have time to satisfy that fondue craving on your way home from work.
So is it a smaller fondue that you offer during happy hour? Or it's the same size?
No, it is the same size. It's the same fondue that our guests are familiar with, and they typically order it as one of their 4 courses. Mm-hmm. But it's in this case, it's featured as kind of the hero of happy hour, mm-hmm. cheese and chocolate.
Yeah. And do you have like a bar program on the cocktail side too? Or has that evolved since you started?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's evolved tremendously because in the beginning we didn't have a bar at all or a bar program. We're old, as Pat is, celebrating our 50th anniversary. When the Melting Pot first opened, the beverage offering was limited to, I think, Michelob Light, Heineken. That was the beer offering. And bottle only, no draft. And our wine program was a handful of bottles of wine and carafes of our house wine, either full carafe or half carafe. And that's evolved tremendously. We have been recognized for our very creative beverage program now with cocktails. All of the restaurants offering now, of course, both beer, wine, and liquor, and also a really nice menu of spirit-free options and cocktails as well. In fact, I enjoyed one of those last evening, the Bee's Tea in St. Petersburg, which is just a really refreshing, delicious tea with honey and just a wonderful mocktail.
Lovely. Well, you did mention that a lot of people come to Melting Pot for the experience, and experiences are something that are a big draw now since the pandemic. That's what everyone is saying. And it's true. I mean, especially in full service restaurants. So Melting Pot is kind of well positioned to deliver on the dining experience. So are you seeing more, younger people coming in for the experiential elements?
Yeah. So, we've always, and I'm not ducking your question, but this is true. We've always appealed to a broad audience. If you go into the Farmingdale Melting Pot on Long Island, which I think is closest to where you live, on a Sunday, you're going to see 3 and sometimes 4 generations seated around the fondue pot. So, kids love us. Who doesn't love to play with their food, right? Well, kids certainly do. And so you'll see families with younger children, not infants, of course, but when they're old enough to responsibly be able to dine at a restaurant, that we start seeing customers at that young age. And then teenagers enjoy the melting pot. It's a place that's often selected to celebrate proms and graduation celebrations and first dates and things like that. Young adults use us to celebrate romantic occasions, right? It's not uncommon for people to get engaged at a melting pot, celebrate a birthday or an anniversary of a relationship that maybe then becomes a wedding anniversary. And then the cycle begins again, where when they finally have a reliable babysitter, they come in to us, for example, for our promotion, which was previously known as Thursday. And that's kind of going through a rebranding. But the idea is you celebrate romance, not just on Valentine's, but any Thursday at a melting pot.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is Valentine's Day a particularly busy time for you?
Sure it is. Yeah. And I think that's true for most restaurants that are, offer something a little bit more unique or special.
Right.
So certainly it is. All of the big holidays, you'll find melting pots are exceptionally busy. Valentine's month, it's not just a day for us, it's a whole month. So February, but also, of course, New Year's Eve is a big night for us. Mother's Day coming up here shortly. Easter, very, very busy days. And we love, we meet a lot of new customers on those days, which we love that. But the melting pot is a place that you don't only have to enjoy for special occasion. You don't only have to enjoy on holidays, but anytime that you want to spend quality time with people that you care about. That's our heroic cause. And we create opportunities for guests to spend time with people they care about and provide them a perfect night out.
Do you do what kind of marketing do you do to get increased guest frequency other than those special occasions or, holidays or celebrations?
One of the most effective marketing tools that our franchisees get to utilize as a franchisee is our Fondue Club database. So this is a direct email product that is super effective at driving sales to restaurants. And we're speaking direct to our fondue fans when we use that tool. But we're also very active, especially now in digital marketing in a variety of channels as well, and having great success with that. Half of our reservations are made directly off of our meltingpot.com website. And so that, the site itself and the information that can be obtained there for the guest is certainly very influential in booking reservations.
And I know you even do special delivery packages, because I did a story on March Madness and Melting Pot had this, special at-home fondue party you could have.
Yeah, so that's correct. That is something new for us. And the goal here is to get more eyes on the brand by experimenting in the retail channel, both grocery and online orders as well, and a variety of different sales channels. And we're early on with that test, but we like the results. Fourth quarter last year, we did a couple of different tests, one in the Colorado area, and we actually saw driving reservations. So let's face it, in-home dining is a thing, right? I mean, it's not thought that that's going to disappear anytime soon, if ever. It might even be a bigger segment of dining in the future. And it is the way that Melting Pot gets to participate in that dining use that is something that's real and forecasted to be around.
And so what's next on the menu? I know you're just getting into the 50th anniversary this week and this month, but do you have some other items coming out of the pipeline, like in summer, fall?
Yeah, we do. I mean, one of our promotions that we do every summer right around Father's Day, is our take on an everlasting fondue, so to speak. So in other words, you get to enjoy the same melting pot experience, but we create added value by allowing you to have as many refills, if you will, of the cheese fondue or chocolate fondue as you like. So that is super popular. It's a very good promotion during the summertime. And throughout the remainder of this year, there are a number of drops, and we're kind of going to keep them secret until they're announced, but there's a number of drops that we'll be doing with new menu items to celebrate our golden 50th anniversary. And everything from cheese fondues that we already talked about in today, but to items on the center of the plate for the entree, and of course some really cool and fun chocolate fondues as well.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Menu Talk. Like and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Pat Cobe.
And I'm Bret Thorn.
See you next week.
Our industry is grappling with uncertainty. At the 2025 National Restaurant Association Show, you'll explore innovative solutions, strategies, and partnerships that will prepare you for whatever comes your way. Take it from me, the show has everything you need to elevate your front and back of house. You'll see, touch, taste, and demo the latest trending products across more than 900 categories, including food, beverage, technology, equipment, and more. Don't miss the industry's most trusted event taking place in Chicago, May 17th to 20th. Secure a badge by May 9th to save $30. Register today at nationalrestaurantshow.com. Rate quoted ends on May 9th and applies to operators only. Non-exhibiting suppliers are subject to a higher badge rate. Please check out the show's website.